Welcome to Nissan Stadium. I'm Paul Kuharsky of paulkuharsky.com, here with your post-game evaluation of the Patriots beating the Titans 31-13. I'm brought to you by Edley's Barbecue. As always, you should go there. You should eat there. You should order in from there using the Edley's Barbecue app, which is a terrific way to get food, delicious food to your house. Bad loss again. Titans showed some life early. Started hot. I sent out a tweet about exactly what starting hot means for the Tennessee Titans nowadays. It's not that fantastic to start hot. 6 for 7 passing for 101 yards and a TD. That's good. But it was a 46-yard edge in net yards, 1 for 2 on third down, 0 penalties, a 5-4 edge in first downs. Allowing 8.4 yards a carry by the Patriots and a 10-3 lead. So a 7-point lead in the first quarter is the Titans being hot. I know we have to adjust everything based on our expectations of this team and what they've done and who they are, but it's not much. Bustin' Diamonds used Edley's to cater their baby shower, and they did a fantastic job. I'm not surprised, and that is terrific. I'm glad. Robert says he thinks the league needs to start looking into all these soft tissue issues around the league and the Titans. Titans do not have a disproportionate amount of soft tissue injuries by any means. It's happening way too often. Jeff Simmons obviously suffered a hamstring injury in this game. Don't know how long it's going to take for him to recover. Obviously hurts without him. They're not as good without him. That's an easy thing to conclude. If you take a team's best player off the field, it's not going to be as good. But listen, he was in the game during that first quarter, most of it, when I just said they were averaging over 8 yards a carry. Now things settled down in the run game a little bit, but not a great deal. Now, the Patriots didn't need to keep running all day long, but Titans didn't play good run defense in this game with or without Jeff Simmons. And that's one of these things they like to say they do, but they don't really do. They gave up 4.9 yards a carry, 175 yards rushing overall. And again, first quarter, they gave up, what did I say, 8.9 yards? Jim, hard to watch. And hard to watch, Paul, and we have 10 more games. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't a bad Cam Ward game, as hard as that is to say. Like, he threw a bad interception, and he fumbled the ball when he put it back over his head, which is ridiculous. It's 2 weeks in a row where he's dropped the ball. But if you're looking for incremental progress, which is really what you should be looking for from this team, he had 73.5% completion percentage, his best of the season. 255 yards total, second best of the season. 92.2 passer rating, best of the season. 7.5 yards per attempt, best of the season. There's some progress made there. Now, it certainly didn't come, consistently throughout the game. It came, a lot in the first quarter, the same way that the Arizona win came all in the fourth quarter. And so that's not sufficient. That's not sufficient. But the Patriots are better than they are. And, that's what you're going to get pretty much. No significant update on Big Jeff. Spot Jenkins says, thank you. The Titans' defensive mantra is no one runs on the Titans, only for the opposing team to run on the Titans. Yeah, they say it too much. Vrabel chance or a rough look, says Spot Jenkins. I'm curious who was here, particularly who was on this side of the field opposite the Titans thing that we see here. If you're watching the white Titans on the blue seats. So on the Titans sideline side of the field, because I heard the chant from underneath where I am near the Titans press box. And I was curious, I think it's an important distinction. Was it Titans fans or was it Patriots fans, or was it a mix of both? I asked Vrabel about it. He joked that he didn't get that many tickets to the game. And it's nice that they had support, from whoever it came. Amy Adams Strunk did not engage with Vrabel, according to two photographers who were on the lookout for such an engagement. He came over to the Titans sideline, I did see, and engaged with Tim Shaw, who's wheelchair bound, as we know, dealing with ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. And I think he interacted with plenty of people, but not necessarily over by the Titans sideline. He was pretty business-like with the Titans media at the press conference, but that's after game, so he's in post-game mode. I think a couple of guys managed to see him like early going out the tunnel, which is the best time to get any, have any chance of more of an interaction. I only saw Vrabel when they were coming back into the locker room after warmups, when they're pretty businesslike. They like to get back in there and get to work. I was looking for him and Stretch and Tony Dews and Frank Pirano and, Todd Downing. Shook hands with a bunch of guys. Did have a small conversation with Frank Pirano, the strength and conditioning guy. But just handshakes with most of those guys and a welcome back in the brief interaction time you have there. If Vrabel wasn't fired, do I believe he would have negotiated his way out of Nashville to take the opening in New England? David Brown believes he still would have been coaching the Patriots. Well, the Titans would have had a lot of leverage in that circumstance. Now, they didn't feel and obviously he didn't get a job the first year out. He may have known, that Gerard Mayo was not going to be a long timer if things didn't go well in 2024. But it's hard to say what would have happened. Titans elected not to give an official tribute, yet they still inevitably did, says Howie the Titan. I wasn't looking for a tribute. And in my poll, I probably used too strong a word. I said honor him. I don't think they should have honored him. I think they should have acknowledged him. I think they should have acknowledged Harold Landry. Did they? I could have easily missed something on the scoreboard, but I don't think it's a big deal when an opponent comes back and is playing for the other team that you flash him up on the scoreboard for a round of applause. I'm not saying put together a big, video tribute. That's a big difference. Team had great momentum, back and forth affair. Your quarterback is finally moving the football, and you cowardly concede at the end of the half after you get bombed on just moments beforehand. Game change. Absolutely true, Dom. And McCoy didn't make much sense. Now, Cam threw an incompletion there, which is a bad scenario, but you came out with the mindset really that you weren't going for it. You weren't using your timeouts. And then McCoy, and I wasn't in the room, but I talked to guys who were, says, well, the wind was a big factor there. Well, Joey Sly had just kicked, not just, but in the same period, had kicked a 50-yard field goal going that direction. So if you need to get in range of Joey Sly kicking a 50-yard field goal or get a little closer because the wind has kicked up, I mean, it's not been that long since Joey Sly kicked a 50-yard field goal. The conditions did not change that dramatically. So it just doesn't make much sense. It just doesn't make that much sense. Jim McCann says he's in, I don't think he's in 1333. Most Titans fans were gone from 133. The chance from the Patriots fans in 133. Okay. Why can't she even have a conversation with him? Look, people have falling outs and then things are awkward, and he's an alpha and she's a beta. And betas don't generally initiate conversations with alphas, and alphas who've moved on from betas don't generally initiate conversations. It's not, I don't know that many head coaches are having conversations with the owners of the opposing teams. especially when they've been fired by them. So Cody says, feels more and more like I'm going to have to be great around Cam Ward in order for him to be successful versus him being able to carry the players around him. Let's talk about this, because what I wrote off of this game after bashing the Titans this week and predicting that this would be a slaughter, and I thought it'd be worse than 18 points, but I wasn't wrong that the Patriots were going to handle this game. What I wrote is what the Titans need is for Cam Ward to follow in Drake Maye's footsteps. Now, Cam Ward was not regarded as highly as Drake Maye by a lot of evaluators and a lot of analysts. I checked in with 2 analysts just to remind myself, and they both had Drake Maye rated more highly coming out. But what I wrote is what we saw out there last year. Drake Maye came here and didn't play very well, lost a fumble, and he threw an overtime interception that sealed one of the Titans' 3 wins. And he did not have a terrific rookie year. Now, it's not as bad as Cam Ward's rookie year, but he threw 15 touchdowns and 10 interceptions, which isn't a good ratio. No, Cam Ward's is worse, obviously. But Cam Ward next year is going to be in a position like Drake Maye, coming off a bad rookie season, a worse rookie season, but coming off a bad rookie season with a bad head coach. Now, he's got an interim head coach, but Gerard Mayo was not a good head coach. Alex Van Pelt was his offensive coordinator, had some good days in Cleveland, but finished with a really bad Cleveland offense in 2023 and had a bad offense last year in 2024 and didn't prove to be the guy to bring Drake Maye along. Now, they hit a home run and hit a home run in Mike Vrabel and Josh McDaniels, who's proven himself to be a very good coordinator and not a very good head coach. So Drake Maye in his second season, even if he's ultimately going to be a better player than Cam Ward, is destined to be a better player than Cam Ward, whatever. I think Cam Ward could follow a similar path. Gets into a second season, resets after going through all the bumps and doing some learning in his rookie year in a bad situation, gets a better coach, better coordinator. They drill him for an offseason on all this stuff he's doing, the bad footwork, the throwing going backwards, the drifting out of the pocket. And he comes back and makes big gains in the way that Drake Maye has made big gains. And Drake Maye is fantastic now. He was precise as could be today. 21 for 23, 222 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 135.9 passer rating. Really good. That is what you want if you've got a young, up-and-coming quarterback. Who are his receivers? I mean, Diggs, 7 catches for 69 yards. Hunter Henry, 4 for 33. Douglas, Boutte, 2 for 55, and a nice touchdown catch. Hollins. I mean, these are not super good weapons, right? Now, you need to surround Cam Ward with better than that. But I think it's conceivable that in year 2, after Cam Ward takes his rookie year beating and hopefully he gets better and he stops dropping the ball, and there's a lot of room for him to get better, obviously, but I said the numbers earlier. This was one of his better games production-wise. Now he's playing a lot of it. Had a good first quarter. Then he's playing against, a semi-prevent late. He made 2 bad mistakes with the interception and with the dropped fumble. But is it conceivable that he follows a path like Drake Maye's? I think it is. I think it is. And I know a lot of you are ready to give up on him. I'm not. Got to get better pass protection, RP87 says. Don't disagree. I think they got to get it out of most of the guys that they have. Might need gloves like Kirk Warner. I don't see him wearing gloves in regular weather. How legit are Ridley's injuries? I mean, why are people thinking that Ridley's faking an injury? It just doesn't make any sense. Ridley just had a great game the last game. He played a full game. Why wouldn't he want to get out and play more games like that if he, in fact, wants to get out of here? I don't think you're talking about Ridley Juice. I think you're talking about Snead. I mean, about the drop fumbles, he said, can't happen. He said everything you'd expect. Nothing that's revealing. Manor and DK have showed promise. It'd be great if they both did it in the same game, but DK had a good game today. DK's not super physical. He's been put in position to block on screens, which he's not been effective at. There's so many holes on this roster. Where do you even start? They're not going to start on the offensive line. I mean, Slater could take over for Cushenberry if they want to get out of that deal, or he could take over for Zeitler. But I don't think they're spending a high draft pick on the offensive line again. Latham's disappointing out there at right tackle. But they have to use high picks on other positions outside of offensive line. They need an edge. They need a number one wide receiver. They need a number one cornerback. Hopefully they're going to make a trade that ideally finish with a high enough pick that somebody wants it that they could trade back and they could address a couple of those positions high. They can't draft another offensive lineman after drafting Skoronski and Latham with two of their last 3 first-round picks. Drake landed a solid coaching crew with an owner that lets coaches win. I agree with that entirely. We need to allow a rookie quarterback to be bad and improve. Not everyone is Andrew Luck or Jaden Daniels. That's absolutely true. And look, I'm not totally sold on Cam Ward by any means. I'm totally sold on not being totally sold that he's not it. You've got to see him. No, this is an absolute no from Jacob. Any chance the Titans opt like the Cardinals did with Rosen and take another quarterback with their number one pick if Cam continues to regress? I don't think Cam, in totality regressed today. I thought he had 2 very bad plays. There's no way they're taking a quarterback with their first round pick. Logan, we firing McCoy now since he didn't win as a head coach? Maybe fans finally will accept that this is a roster issue, not coaching. It's part a roster issue. It's part coaching. It's a bad roster with which a coach should be able to do somewhat better than they've done. Got to compete in this game. And they did compete for a while. Then what happens? What happens after the first quarter? What happens in the second half? You're at 17-13. And you go into the second half and you give up 21 and unanswered? That's not at least partially coaching? No, I'm not coming to you if you can't name yourself something reasonable, and I'm no prude. Alan says, I thought we were told we were going to have an aggressive defense. Seems very passive. I have to say, Hottie Ward looked pretty aggressive to me today. Simmons, when he plays, is aggressive. So Winston get in the backfield and disrupt the thing. Snead was bad. Snead got beat on 2 big plays. Jared Stillman checked in with me if Amy was here. I told him she was, and shortly thereafter, he Venmo'd me $20. Got to give him credit. Rarely deserves it. Deserves it there. Logan Grady, a regular in here who I appreciate. What has Cam done to prove he deserves the chance at the end of the half? Line can't block on obvious passing downs, and Ward is a turnover machine. You're down 4 and have a chance. Let Ward keep momentum. There's got to be a line there, Logan, between we can push a little bit and try to get a field goal here, and we're going to turn the ball over and completely fall apart, and it's going to be 7 points going the other way. You got to be able to push for a field goal there and not feel like you're at risk of giving the ball away. If that's where they are, you can't push for a field goal because you're worried about giving the ball away. It's ridiculous. He hadn't given the ball away to that point. His 2 turnovers came in the second half, right? deserve it. What has he done to deserve it? He's the quarterback of an NFL team that can't score points. And they've got the ball with 3 timeouts with 39 seconds, not in terrible field position. That had made plays in the half, that had found Helm and DK for some decent gains. Does Kenneth Adams still work in the Titans facility? He's never worked in the Titans facility with great frequency since the very beginning of his time when his grandfather was around and he was kind of getting his indoctrination. Shouldn't he be a source for Amy in terms of what's gone wrong and who is responsible? Do you think he will eventually run the team? She has said he will eventually run the team. That's on the record to me back when she spoke. I don't see it coming anytime soon. And I don't see him putting in the kind of time that you would want somebody in that position to put in. Will Levis out for the season. What kind of update do you need from that? Allegedly going to stop by at some point, see the team on or in. You cannot call a guy a bust after 6 or 7 games. You cannot. I mean, some guys you can. You could call Isaiah Wilson a bust after that amount of time. Here, this is much more sensible from Dom. I like Dom. I hope you're a member, Dom. You've been here regularly, and you need to be a member. Drake Maye has 16 turnovers in 12 starts as a rookie. There are already legitimate Titans fans wanting Cam Ward out after 7 games, playing on a coachless team, not excusing his turnovers, but get real. I do not know if Snead's quad is the same quad that had a problem last year. Last year it was a bad quad bruise that turned into something more. Do not know that information. Yeah, this guy, Dirty, is saying 31-13. He's giving the score backwards. Maybe he lives in Europe where they do that sometimes in soccer games. It wasn't close 5 minutes after halftime. What a joke of a team. 7 games and Cam's had 5 good drives all year. PK, Noah says, I've watched every Titans game live in the history of the Tennessee portion, and I'm struggling to continue. First time in my life, I've truly thought about jumping ship and finding a new team. You won't do it. You won't. How do you entry? What's your entree into a new team? Okay, where you go into a message board and say, hey, I'm a former Titans fan, but I want to join you. Wasted timeouts before the half. They didn't waste them. They didn't use them. Sweat is hefty. Ben Reed said, how did I overall rate the offensive line? Not great. Did Sweat look a bit hefty? I have major concerns about Sweat. Amy's never around near the presser. She goes into the locker room after the game if she's in good enough spirits. I don't know if she did that today. She goes around, talks to some of the guys. She's out of there before the press is in there, and that's it. I did see, so I don't think she disappeared super quickly from this game. I did not see her, but I saw her family hanging around near their vehicle after the game. Now, Vrabel was very quick, and Vrabel generally does his media pretty quickly. So I went to Vrabel's media. I was there for all of Vrabel's media. And as I walked back, so I'm over there, if you could see where I'm pointing. Their media is around the corner. Their locker room is around the corner over on that side of the stadium. Went to Vrabel's press conference, asked 2 questions or a question in there, came out. And as I was going back towards the Titans locker room, her family was still gathered, actually gave Bryce Wasserman a point and a nod. So they had not left yet. I am brought to you by Edley's Barbecue. Locations all in and around the mid-state in Nashville. You should go there and eat. They've got a great app to order for delivery, which is nowhere near the ordeal it is to order from DoorDash or Uber Eats. They're not going to rip you off in any sense like that. You need to go eat in the restaurant, though. I've been having burnt ends. I'm back on a burnt ends kick after I was into the avocado plate for a long time. Probably go back to the avocado plate soon. You cannot go wrong eating at Edley's. All around the mid-state, there's one close to you. Food's terrific. The portions are big. The drinks, beers are cold. The cocktails are great. Hospitality's terrific. There's nothing you can say about Edley's that's not great. Everybody that comes in here talks about Edley's, gives rave reviews. Will Newman is a great human. I even put the H into the H there to please people who don't like the way I handle my H's. Eat at Edley's. It's the best barbecue around, and you won't be disappointed. So check it out. I appreciate you taking care of the people that take care of me. Is it harder to watch the Titans or listen to the fans? Well, I only watch the Titans for, 3+ hours a week. I talk to the fans all the time. Some of the delusional ones are difficult. This conversation is not bad. So, let's see what we've got new here. If you didn't see, Mike Herndon wrote a great story that I posted on Friday with 15 candidates that he would consider for the head coaching vacancy when the Titans get around to that. Definitely a worthwhile read. So at paulkuharsky.com, you get Mike Herndon's analysis, Drew Beatty's film study, Braden Gall's draft look-aheads, and tomorrow, Blake Bedingfield's already tweeting me some clips that pertain to the scouting review that he will offer tomorrow. He scouted for the Titans for 19 years, instrumental in the pick of Derrick Henry, as reported by Joe Rexrode at The Athletic. So you want to read that tomorrow. How did the Titans use guys? Why? Who did what correctly and incorrectly and all of that. So for the $7.50 a month, you're going to spend more than that on a nice beer, a nice cocktail, nice cup of coffee. You get all the extra insight at paulkuharsky.com. It's going to tell you what's going on with Cam Ward, where the Titans are heading, coaching-wise when that comes about. Just get the best and most interesting analysis around. I guarantee you nobody wrote along the lines that I did today. And you're getting just another review from most people about just another loss. So we'll see. Cody Barton, Sergeant Bubbles said, has been very underwhelming these last few weeks. Any chance we see Cedric Gray paired with James Williams at inside linebacker? I think James Williams did a hell of a job losing that job. And I don't think you're going to see Cody Barton sitting. But he has been underwhelming. I think he gives them some of the leadership that they want. And I've debated this with people. I think leadership's got to come with performance. But the Titans are thin. And they paid this guy, and they see him playing a certain role. Talent deficiency. This is going to take years to fix. Other teams that have big talent deficiencies have turned things around in relative short order. It doesn't happen here. But even the last Wisenhunt year, which was what? They won 3 games one year. They won 2 games one year. And they were 9-7 after that. No, or 7-9. Washington went from terrible to good in Jaden Daniels' first year. Teams come out of nowhere in the NFL, just not the Titans, it doesn't seem like. They have to improve running back, Richard says, position next year via the draft of free agency. They aren't consistent in the run game. They definitely will. Tony Pollard's not going to be the starting running back here next year. Spears, 5 carries for 22 yards. That's 4.4. Pollard, 6 carries for 18 yards. That's 3 a carry. That's 12 carries for 39 yards, 3.3. That's not enough carries. But obviously they are playing from behind in a decent share of this game, even though they played with the lead. When they had that lead and they got the ball, it was their 5th snap with the lead this season. How about that? Logan says, that's my point. He had the best first half of his early career because they weren't forcing him to push the ball. Take the positives and go to half. When he starts to force things, turnovers follow. He forces things. They don't force him to force things, generally speaking. But in the confine of what's going on in the game, your quarterback has to be able to operate with things. And he didn't need to force things. He needed to throw the kind of passes he threw to Helm early and to DK early. No, they're playing to prevent you to do that. If that stuff's not there, it's not there. But take a fucking look. That's what I want. I want you to be an aggressive team that considers these things instead of going into that huddle and saying, we're not taking those timeouts. We're not trying it. We're not trying it. Chris, when you say he, I have no idea who you're talking about. I did not memorize your previous, everybody in here, I don't memorize your previous comments. It's impossible. Question about should they move on from Chad Brinker? Honestly, I mean, I could see them moving on from Chad Brinker. I don't think Chad Brinker is the big cause of the problem. I don't. I think John Robinson's drafts and Rain Carthon's drafts and personnel acquisitions, some of Vrabel's late-term stuff have hurt this roster very badly. I don't think they should have fired Vrabel. I think 2 down years and having him at the front side of a rebuild, because I think he's a good coach, would have been the way to go. Chad Brinker, I don't think is as involved in personnel. I think he's with the personnel group. I think Mike Borgonzi is making the personnel decisions. I like what I've seen from Borgonzi so far. But it's early. But that's the guy I'm most concerned about. S. Rob. Excited about the growth of DK and Ellick. Think they can be a solid 2 and 3 for years to come. Thank goodness you've got the perspective that they're not ones. Add in Helm, and that's a solid young skill position core. You need to add a true number 1 through the draft. Absolutely agree. Also, when you get to Helm today, you can't abandon Chig. Chig, after the catch, is one of the best things that they have. Latham should be healthy by now. They gave him more time off to recover from the hip the second time it happened. He's got to play better, and he's not been good. And look, I'm not saying the guy's fashion choices have anything to do with it. I'm not even going to say it. Never mind. No, I think Howie says, do I see Levis being retained the next 2 years? I think they'll probably be done with Levis now, but it's going to be hard to maximize his value because he stupidly went and had this shoulder surgery. Should have had the shoulder surgery at the very beginning of the offseason or played through it this year and had it at the very beginning of the next offseason. Yeah, they collectively, Rick asks, I know I mentioned it's too early for Jackson Dart comparisons, but can I compare him to Cam? Well, I haven't seen him. I didn't see him today. But still, small sample sizes are not enough to make major judgments on. I don't think there's a team in the league that would have taken Jackson Dart over Cam Ward, including the Giants. The Giants wanted to come up, didn't they? Who was responsible for declining the Giants trade offer for first overall when they offered pick 3 plus first this year? They collectively declined it. They're not doing anything singularly, the whole group. But I mean, who has the final say on something like that? Chad Brinker. But Chad Brinker's not going to make that trade if Mike Borgonzi doesn't want to make that trade. I am absolutely not losing weight. It's just false. Too many donuts. I think maybe the lighting in here is helping me. Let's retweet, get some more people in here. I appreciate all of you that come to these. One of my most popular features of the week. Reposting. And I'm back. Guys that have season-ending injuries and that are on IR rarely rehab with the team. Most of them go elsewhere. Scott, everything I write, everything Blake Benningfield writes, Drew Beatty's film analysis, everything, who did I say? Blake Benningfield, Mike Herndon, Braden Gall, membership to a private Facebook group where we chat amongst the girls. Anything that's behind the paywall. Text notifications to these podcasts, which are not always at a set time. Small discount, Tennessee tickets when you sign up, 5% off. That will help you out there, especially when you're spending big jack to go to a game or concert. Benefits galore. Todd Downing in the house, walked laps before the game on the sideline with Nick Holtz. People love that. Isaiah Wilson played 4 snaps. 4 snaps. I mean, why you would want Brandon Allen to start is beyond me. It's outrageous. Cam not being a running quarterback, he has to be smart and accurate. Neither of those things right now. No, it's got to grow. Has to grow. Here we go. Spencer Haney. Cam Ward is not a starting caliber quarterback in the NFL. Snead hasn't done anything here except penalties, and Calvin Ridley is the same way. He stays hurt or he drops the ball. Calvin Ridley did not have injury issues last year that I can remember. Snead is not a highly penalized guy. He's just played poorly. I think you might be combining him with Brownlee. And Cam Ward is struggling right now. Had 2 really bad plays today. But it's too early to make a judgment on Cam Ward. Let me repeat it. It's too early to make a judgment on Cam Ward. It's too early to make a judgment on Cam Ward. It is too early to make a judgment on Cam Ward. It's also too early to make a judgment on Jackson Dart. Who wants L'Jarius Sneed, Logan? If the Titans could trade Sneed, they should get out of the rest of the contract. Who wants the rest of L'Jarius Sneed's contract right now? Who? I mean, who's sitting back and saying, the guy we saw get beat for 2 big plays today with Boutte running right past him into the end zone to make a fingertip catch. We want that guy, especially if he's hurt and with the contract that's due. Dixie. No running back 1. No wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 2 at the current rate. Excuse me. No solution at right tackle. No cornerback 1 or cornerback 2. No right guard. 0 bodies on the edge in the edge room besides a severely underdeveloped Femi Oladejo coming off a leg fracture. I think maybe they have a wide receiver 2 developing in Io Manor. Maybe not all the way there yet, but promising. I don't think you need a guy that's a straight up cornerback 2, you know. I think you can have an amalgamation of a group of cornerbacks where you can make do without a cornerback 2 if you have a cornerback 1. Thoughts on Mike McDaniels as a potential Mike McDaniel is who you're talking about. As a potential offensive coordinator candidate next year. You can't hire the offensive coordinator before you hire the head coach. Seems to be in line with the coaches who are poor head coach, but really good coordinators. Yeah. Robert Saleh and McDaniel are friends. So that's one of Mike Herndon's top dream scenario. And I think it would be good. Mike McDaniel, Josh McDaniels, right? Yeah, Snead was in coverage on the Boutte pass over the middle and on the, was it Hunter Henry in the corner, on which I have to say he was in pretty good position. The guy made a hell of a catch, but could have been better. Hooker's not having a great season. He's not having a great season. I mean, this is the worst season I think the Titans have ever had. We'll see what happens the rest of the way. There's not a real cause to have much faith. I certainly didn't see the Arizona game coming, and Titans had to take it, but Arizona certainly laid it out to give it to them. But it's as bad or worse than what Ken Wisenhunt's teams did. The offense looked good for those first few drives, but it just stalled out. What happened to stifle it? Well, they played worse. Play calls weren't as good. Patriots adjusted. It's never just one thing. Did I see on the Facebook page that someone called me out for covering the Pats and not the Titans? Patiently awaiting my response. I went to Vrabel's press conference because I thought it would be more interesting than Mike McCoy's press conference, and it was. And I wrote a story about how Cam Ward and Drake Maye are related, and that the Ward could follow Maye's path. And I thought hearing some about Maye from that side would inform me. And I don't need anybody's counsel on where to go after the game and where not to go. Elliot would love to have a beer with me. Elliot, sign up, become a member, and send me a DM, PK, or an email. I'm available, pkuharski@gmail.com. Anybody can email me. Needs a Titans preseason magazine, like a hard magazine. I don't understand how anybody's still buying those old preseason magazines. I wrote for Athlon this year. I'll tell you, that'll be the last time I do that. Is there any event that would bring Amy Adams Strunk out of hiding? I mean, maybe some kind of charity thing where she didn't have to speak. Do you guys normally ask questions of opposing coach, or did I do it because it was Vrabel? I did it because it was Vrabel, obviously. The press conferences go on at roughly the same time, the head coaches of both teams, and at a reasonable distance from each other. Yeah. I mean, this has been covered, Derek. Jarvis Brownlee's playing out of his mind. I really want to know who in the building decided that it was a good trade. Borgonzi and Brinker decided it was a good trade. It's not a big secret who's making decisions at that level. Like, who do you think could have made that decision? Like Reggie McKenzie or Dave Ziegler? Borgonzi's in charge of personnel, with Brinker's, having a right to decline it. They're going to be in lockstep on stuff. You don't have to ask a question like this, Derek. Like, if a move is made, those are the guys that made it. J.C. Latham might be a bust. It's early on him too, but he sure as hell doesn't look good, and you would expect more from him at this stage. Brad Ford used to get so mad at me till he became aware of how right I am sometimes. You don't have to agree with everything I'm saying. How annoying is the Restrepo cadence online? Can I hear it in real life? Absolutely. If Restrepo was coaching this team, it would be winning. If Restrepo owned this team, they would be like the Patriots dynasty was. If Restrepo was mayor of Nashville, the roads would magically be wider and we wouldn't have to deal with traffic. If Restrepo was president, we would have peace in our country and no protests. Restrepo could solve Israel and Palestine. I mean, look, I understand many people don't think this team knows what it's doing. I saw Restrepo up close, and James Prochet and Mason Kinsey are better than Restrepo. Now, here's the one thing that I will say about Xavier Restrepo. I think that Cam Ward tends to avoid short receivers to go for something deeper a lot of the time. Brian Callahan called him a hunter, right? He's a hunter. So I've seen him pass up Lockett in particular a lot of times, who's the least useful receiver on the team. And I would rather see DK and in there in a lot of situations, or other people rotating through the slot. The only curiosity about Restrepo is that they are such good friends, and Cam is so into Restrepo that maybe he couldn't pass up Restrepo when Restrepo's open underneath. But I'm not convinced that Restrepo could get open underneath because he's significantly slower than all of those other people. But the thing that drives me crazy about the Restrepo cadence is that fans think they somehow deserve Restrepo. Give us Restrepo. We deserve Restrepo. I deserve to see Restrepo. And I just don't understand. Like, you can think you deserve whatever you want as a ticket paying fan or a TV watching fan or somebody who invests time and energy into following the team. But the idea, like, the thing you think you deserve is a player who is this lowly rated. Like, this is a shit team. And what I want is a player that all of the evaluators of this team have determined is a low-ranking practice squad guy. Give me that guy. What I'm desperate for, what I have to have, is this low-ranking receiver. He's the guy that is going to keep me interested in this team. That's just outrageous. Yeah, there's no indication that Amy Adams-Strunk said hello to Vrabel. So I don't understand how that's like any kind of significant, and I don't know why anybody would have expected it. Dwayne asks, do I think Derek will retire as a Titan? Will you think of Derek as a Raven if he doesn't retire as a Titan? Like, I don't know how long Derek has to play. But Derrick Henry will go down in history as a Titan who played for the Ravens. So who cares what he retires as? Like, somebody retiring as something is the most meaningless thing ever. Like, at least until you get to like a borderline where there's a real question. And then I guess you ask a guy like, what does he feel like he is? But like, if Derrick Henry plays 3 more years, he's a Titan. So I don't even know why we would have a debate over it. Like, who cares what he retires as? This retires as is nonsense. Do I think they could turn it around in one offseason? Be very hard. I said going into this offseason at free agency and draft, like, it needs to be the last year where the list of needs is too big to handle in one offseason. And now the list of needs is too big to handle in one offseason. I mean, they need a number one clear-cut edge and another one, right? They need a number one clear-cut cornerback and another one. They need a number one running back. They need a number one receiver. Safety, they're probably okay. Tight end, if Chig goes, you need somebody to come in, and they really could use a better blocking tight end than they have. They need to add at least one offensive lineman in some role, right? They need to add, where am I missing here? I said running back already. I mean, they need to add an inside linebacker there, depending on how you're feeling about Barton, but at least a better third. There are needs all over the field. No, absolutely not, Tyler. Io Manor is not a number one receiver, and that's not an insult to Io Manor. His skill set is what it is. To be a number one receiver, you have to have blazing speed. Alec Io Manor doesn't have blazing speed. Period. That's it. Ice Hockey 77 says, has the fan base switched from anger to just apathy? I find it unfathomable the Titans have sold as many PSLs for the new stadium as they claim they have. Maybe it's all scalpers. I don't think it's all scalpers. I think a lot of it's connected to the ability to get into other events in the building. And I think people want to go watch NFL football, even if the home team's not great. It's not apathy. There are 2,800 people in here in Twitter. And I don't know what's going on in Facebook or in YouTube. That's a good number for me. And then it'll be on Apple and Spotify and iHeart. and it'll get views and listens in the morning. Trust me. So in Nashville market, for a niche guy like me to have that audience, that's not apathy. I mean, we're having conversation about J.C. Latham's poor play. Here it is. J.C. Latham is playing poorly. Still better than Udo. And what can you do? They've got to get him playing better. Rick, I appreciate the compliment. Now people are going to start naming names for the draft. This is just fruitless conversation for me. Draft Jeremiah Love and a defensive end in the second round. Okay, they don't have 2 second-round picks, so that would be difficult to do. 3rd and 4th rounds are for interior, offensive line, and defensive line. It's ridiculous to pre-prescribe what positions go in what rounds, not knowing who is and is not on the board, what you have done in free agency, and what you've done in the first round or the second round. Is it normal for ownership not to live where the team plays? She has a home here, by the way. She spends time here, but she lives in Waller, Texas. Is it normal? No. I mean, most owners live where the team is, but most owners, are from the city that the team lives in. She inherited the team from her father, and it was a Houston team that moved to Nashville. It's unusual circumstances. This is a good point from Dustin Francis. Titans get ripped off all week for their 4th major firing in 3 years. Titans fans' response: here's who they should fire next. Ward can't seem to hit Chig in stride. He has at least 1 target a game where he has a huge yak chance and Ward misses him. I agree with that entirely. And these plays have some really bad results. They turn into interceptions too often. And I don't know. Maybe it's better for Chig not to touch them if they're that far behind. That's a question I'm going to ask tomorrow. John Heine, I'm sure you've talked about it, but is this franchise ideal for a head coach regarding the front office's decisions the last few years? Does it not really matter to a coach wanting the opportunity? Look, I've said for a long time that it's a good job. I think it's less of a good job than it used to be. It's a good job for a guy that wants to come and work for a year and a half or 2 years and collect a 6-year paycheck, but that's not what guys aspire to be. Now, if you like Cam Ward and you like Mike Borgonzi and you can get a good vibe off Amy Adams-Strunk, still, the job security issue is a big issue here. If you have this offer and another offer from a less dysfunctional franchise, which is almost every franchise in the league right now, the other offer is more attractive, depending on the quarterback situation. Now, if you like Cam Ward, but would you prefer to go somewhere where maybe a little more iffy at quarterback, or you're going to be drafting a quarterback or whatever, and the ownership is more stable, has proven more patient in the past? I think these are decisions that people are going to make when they're considering this job. And previously it was not as bad, but this team has fired 4 key decision makers in 4 years. And that's not a comfortable situation to come into. You want to have a chance to have success. You don't just want the check. You want to have a chance to have success, because and I'm not saying that Brian Callahan was good. Brian Callahan didn't pull his end of the rope, but what happens to him now? I'm not being sympathetic there. Will Levis had lost his job outright. Rodney says, do you think Levis chose surgery to avoid losing his job outright? He'd already lost his job. So he didn't avoid anything. He chose surgery then to get healthy, but also to screw the Titans with the timing in terms of their backup. Demetrius says, even if Amy kept Vrabel, he would eventually been fired because of Levis and a bad roster. They were done with Levis. They would have moved on to the next quarterback. Now, he would have gotten either Cam Ward or somebody else. I think they probably would have done better last year and not wound up with a first-round pick, the first pick overall, but they would have been in position to have a quarterback, draft a quarterback. If Cam Ward was somewhere else, he'd be playing better. If we had Dart, Sanders, Gabriel, they would be doing the same thing as Ward here. I don't know how you include Sanders in that. I mean, Sanders is a non-entity in the league for every team in the league. Clock is not ticking on Borgonzi yet. Borgonzi's been here. I mean, it's just too quick. Trade deadline, I think, is November 4th. So it's a couple weeks of trade time. Not sure who will be moved. It depends really on where the market is. Who do people want? Well worth the price, Jim says about paulkuharski.com. Going down to the most recent new questions after falling way behind. This is a bad idea from Bobby. Move J.C. Latham to right guard. He's regressed. Signed Braden Smith in free agency. Will Braden Smith make it to free agency? What happened to the rush defense today? It's terrible. Terrible. These guys love to say how they stopped the run. I have no idea about this ball boy play. Rags asks, what do I think the main reason is for the complete lack of Ward scrambles or designed runs? I know he's not a burner, but I feel like it could help to keep the opponent guessing. I mean, you could call a run, on 2nd and 2, 3rd and 2. Are they in those downs enough? He's not much of a runner. And these scrambles, he tends to try to stay behind the line of scrimmage, running laterally and look to make something happen with his arm, which I don't have a huge issue with. I mean, it doesn't have to be a burner. He's not a runner. And, I think too many people kind of have an image of him as a runner when he's not. We don't know the extent of Big Jeff's injury, but thank you for all continuing to ask. I think Amy certainly went into a shell around COVID. I think COVID had something to do with it. Latham is terrible to be 7 overall. Rand should have traded back for Latham and Sweat. The fact Simmons had to coach Latham is sad. Where are his and Sweat's commitment to stay in shape? Well, Latham has lost a lot of weight. I wouldn't lump Latham and Sweat into the same basket in terms of fitness at this point. But Latham is not playing nearly well enough. Not nearly well enough. I agree with this. Well, to a degree. Noah says they absolutely have to figure out a way to fix Cam's insistence on dropping into a sidearm when there's no need to. Tanks his accuracy. A guy, you draft a guy's delivery, right? But he has a variation of delivery. So I agree with you. Fix his insistence on doing it because he's capable of doing a better 3/4 at least. And when he drops really low, it is a less accurate ball, I think. And so it's insistence that they need to fix. You phrased this very well, Noah, as opposed to fixing the arm angle because he throws from a variety of arm angles. And sometimes it's fine for him to drop down there. Other times, not so much. But you're not going to get him to change his throwing motion, which there's variety to. Hey, we've been here an hour. It's been good. I'm not particularly concerned with my head coach wish list right now. I'd let Mike Herndon speak for paulkuharsky.com on that. So check that story out. Coy asks, when are we concerned on how Cam Ward is playing, or is it too soon to judge him? I've said over and over in this and around, 7 games is too soon to judge him. There's concern for sure, but he's got to be given time. All young quarterbacks need time. So give him some time. Look for incremental improvements. Today, again, I posted this and I wrote about it in my column. Not a good game with the stupid fumble, with the bad interception thrown behind Chick, but his best passer rating, his best yards per attempt, second best yardage, some good elements to yet another bad loss. Eat at Edley's Barbecue. Come become a member of paulkuharsky.com, where you get the best insight information on this team, not from just me, but from 4 other guys with great insight. Don't block the box, and be sure, please, to lock your locks. I really appreciate you coming to have this conversation. I'll talk to you a couple times during the week, including on a football show tomorrow on 440 Sports Network. Be sure to check it all out. Don't block the box, and be sure to lock your locks.